Your record is abysmal, and the electorate has nothing to do with Your record is abysmal, and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you're going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always say, phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well. Your record is abysmal, and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you're going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always say, phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well.
This is Nelson Chamisa's rally in Marondera on Saturday. The opposition leader is getting ready to contest in the 2023 elections. And he is flanked by his own deputies, the people who have been with him since 1999. Every one of them. Unlike Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is now trying to fake things up, bringing the very same president of Zimbabwe, Phelekezela Mpoko, who he removed in a violent coup on the 15th
in Nelson
of November.
Chamisa's side is
a demonstration that Nelson Chamisa has and continue to lead, not to rule, his party. This is Nelson Chamisa's rally in Marondera on Saturday. The opposition leader is getting ready to contest in the 2023 elections. And he is flanked by his own deputies, the people who have been with him since 1999. Every one of them. Unlike Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is now trying to fake things up, bringing the very same president of Zimbabwe, Phelekezela Mpoko, who he removed in a violent coup on the 15th
in Nelson
of November.
Chamisa's side is
a demonstration that Nelson Chamisa has and continue to lead, not to rule, his party. This is Nelson Chamisa's rally in Marondera. Our viewers and witnesses, very good evening to you. If you can hear the sound of my voice here, do let us know where you're logging in from. My name is Simba Chikanza, coming to you, beaming to you live late at night. It is 11:30 in the UK. In Zimbabwe, we are at just after midnight, at 28 minutes after midnight. Type in the comment box right then. Let us know what time it is where you are. Okay, so these are some of the top stories today, some of the top developments today. Nelson Chamisa had a rally in Marondera, and this is the eastern town of Marondera, the town where the history of Zimbabwe, particularly the history of the pre-coup Zimbabwe, has its origins.
people who have been following developments over the last 7 years will recall the rallies that accelerated into the military coup, the campaigns, and the decampaigns against Emerson Mnangagwa were in Marondera back in those days. At the same time, also, other campaigns that have had some iconic semblance, some triggers have been in Marondera. But anyway, nevertheless, today we had Nelson Chamisa in Marondera. And there is a lot of propaganda that went around and against Nelson Chamisa today, particularly here. The claim that Nelson Chamisa is not a unifier, that Emerson Mnangagwa is better than Nelson Chamisa, is a better unifier than Nelson Chamisa, simply because of some videos and pictures here that were and which Emerson Mnangagwa appeared on picture together with Peleke Lampopo, who should have been the president of this country. People will recall here we had the man who was supposed to be acting president when Robert Mugabe was removed, Peleke Lampopo, and he should be the president of Zimbabwe today as the real constitutional successor of the late president. He was removed, violently removed, illegally removed. But today, just a few months after his son was arrested and is currently right now in prison, Peleke Lampopo was somewhat forced, as could be evidently viewed on video, to be at this rally. But how this was used by some people who began to claim that Emerson Mnangagwa is a better unifier. Azoita unifier kupiko kwani, and he's a better unifier than Nelson Chamisa. Oh, hear me, Zimbabweans, I don't support Nelson Chamisa. I daily criticize Nelson Chamisa. And one thing, there are many mistakes that Nelson Chamisa is making, but definitely today is not one of them. The issue of the vice presidents being part of this meeting here in Marondera has got nothing to do, and in actual fact, it is fake, false, totally and completely misleading news. The claim that Nelson Chamisa is not having his deputies, his deputies are not attending his rallies, it's total and complete fake news. How many people saw that here? Today, right in Marondera, people saw there. Tendai BT was there. BT was there. He was there. I'm just going to put up here the videos we've been playing there. Angaripo, Lynette Kore was there. How many people saw? Who else here? Charlton Wende was there. How many people saw? How many leaders were inside the CCC party were there? Numerous people. Now, how someone who Zimbabweans were made to believe is an investigative journalist, okay, can actually write and confidently do so and confidently convince people. And there are people who even liked and they followed the fake news. Vakawanda vatoitevera fake news iyo yekuti Chamisa is not a unifier. Many people, so many numerous Zimbabweans actually believe. I saw, if I'm not mistaken, hundreds of Zimbabweans liking, retweeting, sharing, and the like. The fake news that Nelson Chamisa is being claimed that Nelson Chamisa has created a rift and he's going to lose the 2020. He's now at a greater disadvantage to Emerson Mnangagwa because he's not a unifier. His deputies are not there. What total fake? My nyepo, makukutu akadaro. How many people saw Zimbabweans believing Manyepo Aripo right in front of you? What is going on? Zimbabweans, those in the United Kingdom. Quickly, and people always believe, there is. Yeah, absolutely. But Zimbabweans in the United Kingdom know Hopewell for who he is, for Umbava Wake, for him being a thief, a money launderer, Munakaba Mari, not small money here. We're talking big, huge, a lot of money here. We're talking.
I was on Facebook
over.
Live. Can I be on your line?
Let me just finish. Let me just finish. Yes. So we're talking here millions of British pounds that he stole in the UK and created a whole career that he's been claiming that he is an investigative. This is the community know this man. How many people know this man? Look, those in the UK, they do. And now this man here suddenly comes out soon after failing to obtain a job at ZVC. Suddenly, he then creates this drama, Rekusungwa, around his name. Now, those who have been following my events since the since 2019, since 2018 up to today, you will note that everything that this man has been doing has been to convince and to overcompensate, to send a message that he is. Hold on here. It has been. I'm just getting distracted here. Just hold on, folks. Let me finish this, please. I've got people listening, so let me just finish this, please. This commentary. It's late in the night. Thank you. Right. So the message is that everything that he has been doing, everything has been a projection, a sending of a message that the opposition party has been bribed by Western governments, by Western embassies. How many have seen that message being constantly and repeatedly projected since 2017, since the coup? And the selling of information to Constantino Chiwenga, so the leaking of the addresses of the torture victims between 2018 and 2019 to Chiwenga. Now, there are people, there are women, there are men and women who are literally in hiding today, over 3-4 years later. Lachiri in hiding right now because of what this man has been saying and doing. So quickly, everything. Denison Timber, I'm glad that you are here.
I've got him on
And then you've been following. Let me just finish this, please, folks. There are people who have died, so I'm just trying to just project something. Thanks, folks. Right. So everything. Denison Timber, I know we've been having arguments over the years about this because a lot of you people were not picturing this. You couldn't understand this because people got distracted by the victimhood that this man projected himself as. So he was making himself out to the people as a victim of certain people, claiming that he is the epitome of anti-corruption activism. So the messages here that he has been sending and consistently sending ever since 2017 is that his own victims, the tortured people, the raped women, the party led by Nelson Chamisa, the entire party here have been bribed by Western embassies, and secondly, bribed by corrupt people. Those who were tuned in on the 6th of July, if you were following, go onto the Open Secrets Twitter page, Twitter portal, Open Secrets South Africa, and the Sentry. Now, there's a Spaces discussion that was held there where they were talking about the corruption by Kudakwashe Tagwire and the like. Now, in that space, you will notice that it had to be ended abruptly after he had been confronted over disinformation, a disinformation campaign at a sensitive time of elections, the one that the people are undergoing right now. So what is this about? This is about a man whose statements have been repeatedly sent out Everything, all the noise that people have been listening to over the years, everything has been a stampede that he has been with George Charamba. We're talking the president's spokesperson. They have been stampeding Vesevary to become the best service, the best communicator, who sends the most powerful message that destroys the civil society, that destroys the opposition party. Now, you can see this on his tweets, even a time when he even explains the work that he has been doing to campaign for the ZBC, to lobby for the broadcaster to be accepted in the Western world. So there's been a stampede here. These are two individuals, George Charamba and Hopewell Chingono, fighting for a job, fighting to become the best communicator, the one who destroys the civic society, who destroys the tortured activists, who destroys the opposition party, the greatest. In other words, here, the one who's got the loudest, the most powerful sound, the most powerful message, and the loudest message. How could he become that? The methodology is victimhood. So he climbed the mountain that you could call Mount Everest. Right. Panache, Denison, do you want to type this down? He climbed a mount called Mount Everest. Okay? Does that make sense? I didn't say Mount Everest. I said Mount Everest. Okay? So the Mount Gomo, the mount where he would be continuously and constantly arrested. So Igomo, where he would always be on top. He would always be loud. He would be even louder. Why? Because he's getting arrested over and over and over and over again. So it's the Mount Everest. Okay. So I hope this makes sense here. So this is someone whose agenda and Mount Everest. Thank you very much. I hope that makes sense. So Mount Everest. Okay. So if you go, those who are good at digital technology, if you go on his Twitter portal, and if you were to do what is called scraping, you scrape the data. Now, I've done that. Okay. So you can do that yourself from day one. Go way back to 2010, all the way up to 2023. You will notice that the agenda, particularly since 2017, has been to be the first and the most powerful destroyer of the entire opposition. So a message that would be projected so loud that it can destroy the entire civil society. And then he comes out there and he looks all clean. He looks like a China. So that has been the agenda. So what we are seeing right now. Right. So okay. So what we're seeing right now is then this man being so powerful that now he can then send this message. And you can see from January this year, from 1 January, the messages have been projected over and over and over and over. Manyefo achona achibuya, so constantly and repeatedly. So that the opposition is then destroyed, completely destroyed. Okay, right. Let me finish, folks. Let me finish things. Right, right. So, okay. So basically, now we will see. So now we will see these messages are now even louder and they're now even more profound. Denison Timber, I'm sure you remember. We have had people who have done the same technique One of them here is Emerson. We know how he did it during Rhodesia, how he did it. He got arrested so that he would climb the Mount Everest. Okay. And now he'll become so powerful that he becomes the voice of anti-corruption.
You chats
And the agenda is so that he then takes over all of you while you're all asleep. He takes over because he's got the loudest voice while standing on Mount Everest. Okay, does this make sense? Does this make sense, Denson? The messages that you see being repeated by him over the time, I've been arrested for exposing corruption. I have been arrested so many times. Every time for exposing corruption. What is the agenda? The agenda is to make himself the tallest, right? The highest Mount Everest climber. Does this make sense? Does this make sense, folks? Is this coming now? Make sense here. So this is how Anzi is a sellout. Asi sellout. Akagara ari sellout. Imaifunga uchi ari sellout. Aiwa. Iye wachona ndiye wachona muridzi. Wekusungwa. Ndiye wachona. Okay. Let me just finish this, please. Yeah.
Can we get ourselves
so quickly? Right. So.
Yep, the boys. Shout out to 3 other boys in the 1-4. Get me for fire.
Okay. Right. So now. So folks, quickly. I want to try and finish this session here. So that Zimbabweans Munzu say. Agenda is to climb Mount Everest and become the loudest voice that destroys the opposition. And he's done it so well. I mean, he's now better than you can actually see on the video, the tweets where he is celebrating. He's practically celebrating the achievement of the outwitting, the outmaneuvering of everyone. Kuti akuvhara imese. So, panapa tiri kutaura mbavha yakaba kwete mari shoma, mari hombe vanotomuziva. We have had experts in the United Kingdom who are in well-established jobs who have spoken even on video, and they've explained how this man was stealing using credit cards, he was doing check fraud, and he became so powerful that he could easily whisk himself out of and away from the British justice system. And then go and change his name 3 times. 3 times change his name. Soon after that, reinvent a whole name, reinvent an entire career, go back to school, extend his education, and then suddenly fly back to the United Kingdom. And this time, he is a student. He's a student who is studying journalism. He does an entire degree, finishes all that on a different identity. Is in the public domain that he himself has even acknowledged. So this is what we're talking about. This is what we're seeing. So now, no, thank you. Right. So quickly, let's jump in straight in here. So what people are seeing right now is the culmination, is the consummation of this entire agenda, which was hoped would destroy the opposition completely and so conclusively. And that's why right now he became an institution himself. That's how he became an entire institution. Rekuti, if you ask questions, people would tell you, no, you can't criticize this man. He's fighting for fighting corruption. He's fighting the system. System kwaniko. Munhu akagara akakwira gomo ari pamusoro pegomo rinonzi Mount Everest. Muchaona mangwana asungwa futi. Agenda asungwa kudaro. Ndekuti, so that this time he distracts you again. Through the armory, through the technique, the methodology, or you want to call it the technology of victimhood. When a person becomes a victim, you can't ask them questions, can you? If a person comes to you and tells you that they're a rape victim, can you ask them questions? If a person comes and tells you that they were raped by Mnangagwa, can you ask them questions anymore? No, you can't. Why? Because that person has taken on an armor, a coat that is called a victim. So everyone has to believe them. Those who don't believe, they'll feel guilty. That is the technique of all thieves. Those technique, but I'm talking about things that people know here. I'm not saying anything new. Those in the UK who had forgotten about this stuff, they already knew. I mean, some people have even approached me. Some have come on video. We have interviewed and the like. You know this man. Kuti opo chingono imbava gororo mbava huru yakanochinja mazita yakagadzira zvese yanga ine background nejournalism kudhara zvese zvanga zviripo izvozvo. Then he goes, no, right now yakunyepa. There's one important thing here that Zimbabweans need to remind this man every time when he lies. Just ask him to tell you the bank that he claims gave him a loan for a sports car, a £50,000 loan for a sports car in 1996 when he had arrived in the United Kingdom. Ingomuvunza ipesi, just type and say, now tell us, you have said that Chamisa is not making it. You have said that Chamisa is divisive and that he is worse, that he won't make it. Now tell us the name of the bank that you claim gave you a loan for a 50,000 sports car in 1996 when you were just a clerk, as you claim, and when you were just 25. Mungangomuvunza izvozvo ipapo ndopachatangira audit yenyu ndopachaperera audit yenyu ipapo. That's when you're going to get everything. That's when you're going to understand umbavha hwaHopewell. Kuti munhu akaita sei. Vanhu vakauya kuUK vakagara kuUK vanoziva nhamo inowanika muUK yekushanda yekuenda kumashift uchigeza chembere uchistruggle kutsvaga mapepa zvinhu zvichinetsa kubhadhara council tax nezvakadaro. You will know that it is impossible at the age of 25 to get a sports car loan, especially in 1996 to get £50,000 for a sports car loan under 25 years, which uri clerk. It's impossible. So that is where your audit starts. That is where your audit ends. So this man who is harassing people, this is how you can simply handle him. Ask him for the bank, for the name of the bank that he claims gave him 50,000 for a sports car loan. That is when you're going to get all your answers. Ma-answer enyu ndopa muchapa mama wana ipapo. Vamaziva kuti mukomana weimhandu yakaita sei. Imhandu iri kuita overcompensate for umbavha hwake. He is in the league yatype dzana Trump. Dzinokuudza kuti everyone else is fake news apart from me. Everyone else is fake news apart from me. Everyone else is a liar apart from me. So that is the technique, is to be the loudest voice while standing on Mount Everest. Okay, so where are we now? Second story here, there is a secret meeting at Mnangagwa's sister's lodge in Gweru, and the secret meeting is sitting on top of another meeting where these judges, Supreme Court and High Court judges, are holding a symposium. This is an annual symposium that is held around this time. Why is this important? Why should people worry about this meeting? Number one, it is being held at a lodge. Okay, there's no reason why these judges should be at a lodge, because you're talking about the entire Supreme Court. The judge, this lodge is too small for this group of judges to be there. Why should people be worried? There is a conflict of interest. This conflict of interest is in that the person who owns this lodge is the sister of a head of state. So how do judges hold a meeting at a property that is owned by the sister of a man who these judges are supposed to investigate? and adjudicate on. How does that happen? So there's something wrong there when it comes to the separation of powers. Thirdly, the greatest worry here is the state capture. State capture, because right now, and there is a deeper story that you're going to be seeing during the week about the capture of the judiciary. This is big. This is huge. And people should really be worried because these are the judges who've got the final decision making, the final verdict on who has won the elections. Remember, the person who is running the Electoral Commission right now is a judge. It's being run here by the same group of people, and whenever there's a dispute, the people who have the final word are this group of jurists who are meeting at the sister, at a lodge that is owned by the sister of someone who they're supposed to investigate. How do you expect a separation of powers in such a situation? So this is what people should be worried about. This is what I'm just flashing over here to the people to see. Right now, we're going to quickly replay this. Check out this video, and this video will tell you this is Christopher Changwa speaking, and it will show you the things that he is revealing, and he is ordering the opposition party not to talk to the press. Don't talk to the media. Go and report your matter to the police and to the judges, and the people who have the final word will be the judges. So the scenario that we saw, this is going to be the end statement here, so people will get this. The scenario that people saw in 2018 of brutal, lawless soldiers holding guns, shooting civilians in the street. In 2023, it is more likely going to be this time, unlike soldiers doing the actual butchering, it is going to be more jurists, judges holding the AK rifle per se, okay, and shooting civilians. And they've already started doing so. The judges are the ones who are shooting people. They're the ones who are killing people. They've already started by blocking the MPs from participating. So I'm going to quickly replay this video and then we follow. Thank you. Then we follow. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Your record is abysmal and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you're going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well. Your record is abysmal and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you're going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well. Your record is abysmal, and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you're going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always say, phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well. Your record is up.
Peace after elections. Those elements in this country who are planning to create violence, I warn them. We will not tolerate any mischief. We will not tolerate all those who are bent in causing violence in our peaceful country. If they are being given money by whatever authority, nation or country or organization, ilamara wakanyarara, ipukute wakanyarara, ukangoti buf, todiranewe, tokuvarira. We want peace in the country. All those who are promoting peace, the law will take its course against those who promote violence among us. We are a humble, peace-loving people. Takawanda over 100,000 here. Saka uyanenga sarutsa umbirijonga anenga sarutsa ubhesa mkono aiwa takakwana tosakana naye anenga sarutsa rujaro norugare haleluya kware rugare namasuake ngawedzekwe munyika inotongwana vatema asava sarutsa mbirijonga masuva vanokunyana
Anybody, local or foreign, to produce the women so that the world can see them and say this is what happened. We would want to see those. And with regard to that.
Yes, sir.
Where do you get your information?
VP, Vice President, sir. Pane ma live videos. Pane BBC Al Jazeera yanga iripo marare nezuro. Ma journalists akarowa.
Now listen.
Yes, sir.
No, if ukadapi jurisdiction kashamwa. Ajis wanani. Only can order sequence of events. What did the defense force end up after three people had been killed by this hooligan? Hakuna msoja akaura.
vachiwenga pane masoja akafilma vachiridza pfuti.
Some of the women have now left the country, have been shipped to the United Kingdom. The few who are still in the country, they are being moved from house to house, and we are trying to track them down. It's all stage managed. We are challenging anybody.
That I think the problem with the corruption reports that have been coming out is that the opposition itself has failed to articulate the issues to the citizens. When I say the citizens, I'm not talking about those on Twitter space. I'm talking about the ordinary citizens. So
peace after elections. Those elements in this country who are planning to create violence, I warn them. We will not tolerate any mischief. We will not tolerate all those who are bent in causing violence in our peaceful country. If they are being given money by whatever authority, nation or country or organization, ilamara wakanyarara, ipukute wakanyarara, ukangoti bufu, todhira newe, tokuvarira. We want peace in the country. All those who are promoting peace, the law will take its course against those who promote violence among us. We are a humble, peace-loving people. Takawanda over 100,000 here. Saka uyanenga sarutsa umbilishonga anenga sarutsa umvesa mkono aiwa takakwana tosangana naye anenga sarutsa rujalo norugare haleluya kware gare na maswake ngawetsekwe munyika inotokwana vatema asava sarutsa mbilishonga maswa vano kunyana
Anybody, local or foreign, to produce the women so that the world can see them and say this is what happened. We would want to see those. And with regard to that.
Yes, sir.
Where do you get your information?
VP, Vice President, sir, pane ma live videos, pane BBC Al Jazeera yanga iripo marare nezuro. Ma journalists akarowa.
Now listen.
Yes, sir.
No, if ukana jurisdiction kashamwa. Ati wanani. Only can order sequence of events. What did the defense force end up after three people had been killed by this hooligan? Hakuna msoja akaura.
vachiwenga pane masoja akafilma vachiridza pfuti.
Some of the women have now left the country, have been shipped to the United Kingdom. The few who are still in the country, they are being moved from house to house, and we are trying to track them down. It's all stage managed. We are challenging anybody.
That I think the problem with the corruption reports that have been coming out is that the opposition itself has failed to articulate the issues to the citizens. When I say the citizens, I'm not talking about those on Twitter space. I'm talking about the ordinary citizens. So
peace after election.
Your record is abysmal and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you are going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well. Your record is abysmal and the electorate has nothing to do with you. That's why you are going to be defeated. But now you want an excuse, and you want an excuse, then you always phone ZANU-PF to the press, ZANU-PF to the press. Read your constitution. You were part of writing the 2013 constitution. The constitution says the police are responsible for law and order, and through the police, the judges get involved. So I appeal sincerely and advise in all earnest the CCC that if they've got issues with with law and order and on the ground, they go to the police. And they need to have their PR with the police be good, because the police is the statutory body of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You can't have bad relations with the police. You have to try to have good relations with the police, because that is your port of call when things do not go well.
This is Zemi Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot.